Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Live from Melbourne, Florida. Don't yet know if it's sunny or not. We'll see. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. And while we wait for Kelsey to finish up over there and the crowd to get here, drink it along with me if you got it. One of the great moments of the day. Yes. Well, how we doing over there? They're still at it. I saw they had their drawing, but time for my pretty face. Such as it is. Well, it's Monday, December 22nd, and they're waving goodbye. So yes. As the crowd crams in a hurry to get through the doors. And they are now officially done. Good timing, my friends. Good timing. I watched them this morning. Always glad to hear about beef. Get my hat straight. There we are. Well, hope you all had a nice weekend. I did. Very relaxing. And Brian Dish says we don't need kilts to finish. Let's just get started. Well, yeah, but when I see 20 people in here, I don't want to say anything that might be so profound that most people don't hear it, which is usually the case of everything I say. But just relax a little bit, sip a little coffee, wait for the crowd to build up. So I got a little bit to talk about this morning. But before I do that, and while we're waiting, let me welcome the early arrivals. Mary M. yesterday. Hiya, Mary M. How are you? Lori Weitzel. Last night, hope you did get some sleep. Lady June checked in this morning with us. And Mike Seeley from Tampa Bay. How are you, Michael? Good to see you. Brian Dish. Good morning, Mitch. And Mitch Fitz. Only 9 days left in 2025. Yes. And today is the first full day of winter. We finally got past autumn. We finally got to the shortest day of the year, which was yesterday, the winter solstice, and today. Yay, the days start to get longer again. And everything will be getting better and better and better in the morning until inevitably the stupid fools decide we still need to do this daylight savings time stuff, and then they kick us back with another hour of darkness in the morning. But for the next couple of months, I guess it's March, sometime in March, that we have to go back on daylight savings time. We'll feel like the days are getting a little longer because the sun will start to rise a little earlier. I can't be the only one that would rather have it that way. But then again, I think most older people don't really care about when the sun sets. Younger people, they want the kids out of the house and out of their hair, but they don't want them out playing in the dark, I guess. Mike Celia Melbourne is here. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. Lucy Work, good morning. Tammy Petarch, hiya, Tammy. How are you this morning? We're y'all, Mitch Fitz. Sandy Blythe, good morning. Professor Mitch, how are you? And Chris Swain from Australia, good day. Good day, Mitch, he says, and good, excuse me, let me do this right. Good day, mate. There you go. My best crocodile, Dundee. Right there. Rick from Miami, good morning. From Miami, good morning to you. And Robbie Autry at 6:59. So close, Robbie. So close. And Larry Ryan, the winner this morning at 7 a.m. Congratulations, Larry, on the ball this morning. And here we have some Polly's podcast. I don't recognize that. Welcome. Welcome. Good morning and happy Christmas to you too. I'm still craving a heart attack burger. And Marla Kelly's here. Good morning, Marla. How are you? How are you? And Bride's Biscuit, good morning. Mitch and family. Lori's here with us. Good. You're up. Hi, Lori. How are you? Good to see you. And Brenda McIntyre joined us. Morning, everyone. Elgin, Illinois, don't let your meat loaf. Lady June got back here. Hello, everyone. Rick says, I felt a little like Chef Mitch. I guess you're talking about a cooking adventure that you had. Steve Rogers, Captain America's with us from Kansas City. Good morning, Steve. How are you? And Carnivore Jerry, congratulations. SGARON. I don't know what that is. A person, I guess, on your Kilts digital win. Oh, Kilts capital win. Aha. That must have been the winner of Kiltsy. I think he gave away a hat this morning. Brandon Dish, how you doing, Mitch? Isn't that what replays are for? Well, yeah, I suppose. I'm set in my ways. What can I tell you? Aaron, Booby Goats. It was so weird. It didn't let me chat and told me subscribers only. And I'm like, I'm subscribed. Well, don't be so sure about that, Aaron. If you were able to put up this chat, yes, you are subscribed. You may have just read the message at the top that it said that I said it to only allow people that have been subscribed to the channel for at least a day in an effort to stop the nonsense and the trolls. I keep trying to make it less hassle, but so many of these things that you do just backfire anyway. I don't know why I bother. Okay. Oh, that was Sharon. Sharon, not SGR. Typo. I get it now. And who else is here? Peter. Good morning, Peter. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. And Jerry, and we're getting into the repeats here. And let me just scroll down quick. Put QQQ in the chat if you want to talk about something that you think is of interest, something you heard somewhere else, and we'll We'll see if we get to it. Danny. Hi, Danny. How are you? Oh, you guys are heavily into chatting back and forth already, and I got to get through this stuff. Holy cow. Okay. I got to the bottom of the chat. So, have you been taking advantage of all the meat sales? I got a lot of comments on that video that I posted about the ribeyes. And I want to show you what I did with the ribs. Here we have a question from Brendan McIntyre. What do you think about red light therapy? I haven't really had many thoughts about red light therapy. I suppose, since I believe in wavelengths and vibrations and the fact that they're an integral part of every living organism, because certain molecules and certain atoms do resonate, which means they're kind of excited when like when a glass breaks, for example. You know, you've seen these people who run their finger around the edge of a glass and create just exactly the right frequency and the glass shatters. Well, that's a very common thing. In fact, resonating is a word that we use to indicate that things are similar or aligned. And in that respect, I don't dismiss it as a mystical thing, because it's a very real physical effect. Now, I've heard people say it's good for mitochondria. What mitochondria are going to get hit by the red light? The ones in your skin, the surface cells of your skin? I don't know. The times I've seen most of this red light therapy pushed as the answer to everything, the great mystery, the cure-all, is usually in some nonsense, highly propagandized sales pitch for an overly priced, a ridiculously priced gizmo to shine the red light on you. And that leaves itself open to so much fraud, that I tend to just dismiss it and not even want to research it. Like the copper bracelets that they sell you for a lot of money that they want you to wear. It fixes everything. There may be something to it. Maybe you could get this certain crystal and put it on your desk and all your problems go away. Most of that stuff is a fraud based on some real science, but nothing that's really going to solve any real problems for you. I'd like to hear from people who have started this red light therapy and can document, like a study or a laboratory experiment, meaningful and noticeable and documentable results, not just the placebo effect. And we all know what the placebo effect is. You know, when we want something to work so badly that we tend to imagine, and maybe even because of the power of mind over matter, we actually do heal a little, but not because the red light or any other such thing had a real effect on us, but the fact that we believed it would, and the positivity in us that belief instilled actually can heal. It actually can heal. And that's the placebo effect. Even though there's not a single physical change, and I'll steal from Kelsey, the mind is the master. And I'm a advocate believer in positive mental attitude. It does affect physiology. So in that respect, okay. But other than that, I don't particularly, for myself, I can't recommend what I would recommend to you, because I don't. Brandon Magdas, I know Dr. Berry says go out in the sun. Well, yes. None of us tell you to stay out of the sun. And none of us tell you to put sunscreen on it. Every one of us says that the sun has many frequencies, probably tens of thousands of different frequencies that have different effects on the body and the skin cells. Certainly in plants, you have photosynthesis. But which part of this light spectrum, which frequency? Ultraviolet, infrared, red light, blue light, green light. Yeah, all these things do have certain effects on us. And yes, the sun is an aggregate of all of them. Just like white light is a combination of the wavelengths of every separate colored light in the rainbow. And the light we can't even see, we don't recognize with our eyes, but is there nonetheless. So yeah, the sun is great. And the sun has ancestral significance. Living things have been out in the sun, and ever since the sun was here long before living things, but ever since they kind of evolved, they've been affected by the wavelengths and the light, which is a form of energy. So take it for what it's worth. Do I want to make a religion out of it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just one of many things. Like grounding. I walk them barefoot in moist grass. Same thing. So Lori is wishing DS111 a happy birthday. Happy birthday, DS111. Good to see you. So I was going to talk about, and I noticed that question, I was going to talk about and Peter says, oh, here it is. I knew somebody was going to bring this up, and most likely Peter. Kerry did a video interview with Dr. Armara a few days ago, and they talked about the fermented foods. Very, very interesting. I watched that, Peter. I watched it because the thumbnail was so incredibly clickbaity. And the title of the video was so incredibly clickbaity, considering it came from Curry. And I have a lot of respect for Curry. But I don't normally watch his stuff because I know what he's going to say. And I know how he practices carnivore. And he said, I'm coming up on my 1,000 days of carnivore, he said. When I think the title, something like "This Changed Everything," and there's a picture on the cover of Curry holding up a martini glass full of some kind of liquid, indicating that this changed everything. Or carnivore got me 90% of the way, but this got me the rest of the way. And I decided to watch it because not only am I interested in any real information, I'm interested in to see what propaganda is being put out there and what people are doing to get clicks And at the time I watched it, this video had over 100,000 clicks already. So obviously I wasn't the only person that fell for the clickbait. And I watched it. And you had to get through about half the video before you found out that what wasn't in the martini glass was not a martini. What was it? Spoiler alert. It was sauerkraut water. Why the hell would Curry be drinking sauerkraut water, you may ask? And the answer was something that Dr. O'Mara, Sean O'Mara, told him in an interview that he had. And it all went back to the good old microbiome. And it was another one of these things that, I don't know, warning people not to stay on carnivore too long, that there are other things you need to be in optimal health, which may be true. I'm not denying what O'Mara said. I'm not saying he's wrong. The guy's in great shape, but maybe he's just got the genetics for that some of us don't have. Who knows? There's too many variables. But it was another one of those things that's going to make an awful lot of carnivores, and maybe it has a lot of validity to it. I'm not saying that, but we're being so bombarded with that kind of thing. Now, I've been a carnivore for almost 1,300 days now, longer than Curry, and I hear every day, you need to add carbs. You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. You need to change. And then there was a video yesterday. I saw a thumbnail that said, from Anthony Chafee, "People are quitting carnivore," was the title of that one. Is that the only thing that gets people's interest these days? Is the stuff that tells you why carnivore is no good for you? Because those are the videos that get the hundreds of thousands of views. And good old Mitch, who comes on here and says, eat meat, losing subscribers, people don't like me anymore. I can understand why not. But if it's the message, how can a message that extols the virtue of carnivore survive when the top carnivores in our space, the ones that have the most subscribers, are telling you what's bad about carnivore? That seems to be the impression. More and more people are putting out videos that say, you need to eat carbs. You need to eat carbs. Well, I tried that. I fell for that. It was a disaster. A disaster. So maybe it isn't carbs. So Curry decides, taking O'Mara's advice, that what it was the microbiome. And that microbiome topic ranges from, it doesn't matter, it'll take care of itself, it'll adjust itself to the foods you eat, and yes, those little buggers down there in your gut do certain things. O'Mara talked about the perfect stool, and Curry got all excited about having the perfect stool. And I don't mean the stool you sit on. And about the perfect shape and consistency. And O'Mara even went as far to say, like, when you take a crap and you manage to squeeze out a perfect stool, it's orgasmic, he said. That's the word he used. An orgasmic experience. And I'm going to myself, WTF, give me a break. There are a ton of things that go into your stool consistency. Are you adequately hydrated? Are you getting enough electrolytes? So many things affect our digestion. How much fiber are you eating? And the minute I think, and I've always thought this, and I may be wrong. I have my shirt on. I may be wrong. See, it says it right there, but I doubt it. The minute we try to regulate the balance of different strains of hundreds of bacteria in our gut and live our entire life and everything we eat or drink based on somebody else's idea of what that's going to do to our gut microbiome, we end up going off carnivore, trying to eat and drink different things, or take probiotics, and God knows what's in those things. And the only thing I know about them really is that they're very expensive. I don't buy it. There may be some validity to it, but I'm entitled for my opinion, and that's my opinion. And don't believe me, make up your own mind. Do the research. Curry settled on a particular kind of yogurt because the subject turned to fermented foods, that you need to eat fermented foods because they provide particular strains of bacteria that our ancestors used to get because they ate fresh kill and the bacteria were still alive. I mean, okay, I'm sure that's a great story. I don't like yogurt. Peter, you like yogurt. So you hear Curry's video and it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing. Well, I've been taking yogurt for a while. I put blueberries in my yogurt. We talked about that. And now you have something out there to reinforce you. Well, we all want to hear things and agree with things and propagate things and talk about things and reinforce the things that we believe. Whether they're right or wrong, the jury may be out. But that's not critical thinking. That's the way everybody thinks. They're in the choir and they want to be preached to. They want to be accepted. They want to know and think they're doing something right, whether it's good or bad. My opinion probably doesn't make much difference one way or the other. And if you like the yogurt, eat it. Eat it. But that doesn't mean everybody has to. I can't stand the crap. I'm not going to take it. It's like taking medicine for me. I'm not going to eat yogurt. It disgusts me. And if I have to die 10 minutes sooner because I didn't eat yogurt, I'm going to do that. If I wanted yogurt, I'd be eating it. So, Curry, if you're so happy about the amazing difference in the way you feel and your attitude and your mindset because you're drinking some fermented cabbage water and eat a little bit of this yogurt, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. But all we're doing is making things more and more complicated every day, having to do more and more things, keep track of more and more things, make more and more things, and simply screw up the simplest diet that ever lived. In search of what? So, Peter, thanks for pointing that out. I was going to talk about that anyway. Continue to eat your yogurt. And if you can document some real improvement from it, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. And you go right to Dr. Berg's website and you buy that stuff like Curry did. So you know that you're getting the right bacteria because everybody knows that Eric Berg is a philanthropist and doesn't put out any advice for any commercial purposes to make any kind of a weight. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe he does. uh, and Peter said, I wasn't answering the QQQ. I was talking about watching Curry's video. So somebody must have asked the question about that. Yeah, I don't watch O'Meara. I don't watch O'Meara. O'Meara claims that you get a little visceral fat, and that's the cause of all our problems and the cause of, all that other stuff. And he's in pretty good shape, but some people aren't, because they have some visceral fat, some fat around their organs, which most people have. And he's adamant about that. And, immovable on that point. And then comes Kiltsey, who says all fat, no fat is bad, all fat is good, we need fat, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got their opinion, including old Mitch here. My opinion is keep it simple. You're much more likely to succeed. If you can have 90% perfect health, settle for it. Because what you're going to go through, trying to achieve perfection, is what happens to most human beings when they don't settle for good enough. The quest for perfection ruins everything. It ruins your mental health, it ruins your physical health, because you become preoccupied and change everything every 5 minutes, and you start listening to everybody, and everybody's got their opinion. So be careful. Be careful. Don't give your cynicism away that easy. That easy. And of course, my mouse decided to take a crap. Yeah, Aaron says, let me see if I can show this up on the screen. Aaron says, I listened to one person once about getting rid of the salt and ruined a month of my life. Yeah, everybody, always have to say, why are they saying it, and what's in it for them? What's in it for them? I don't want to eat yogurt. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't something to it. And I'm not saying that Curry isn't feeling what he's feeling. And Peter, I'm not saying that your yogurt in the morning isn't helping you. Do what you want. The Peach Baron says, question, is the heavy cream being used in keto chow to gain extra fat stalling my weight loss? Nobody can answer that. That's a tough one. Your weight loss could be, first of all, you have to analyze it. When did the weight loss start or stop? Start stalling? Was it exactly when you started eating keto chow with heavy cream to add fat? How much weight have you lost? Over what period of time? Is it just coincidental or entirely possible that your weight loss is a natural thing? Because nobody starts to lose weight and it's not linear. Your body doesn't want to lose weight. Your body wants to gain weight. That's the physiological imperative. We only lived in this period of calorie abundance for a microsecond compared to the overall length of time of our evolution. And through 99.99% of our evolutionary time, food was scarce. And in order to survive, we had to evolve the mechanisms to store fat. And we are the descendants of those with the most finely tuned fat storage physiology that was, because the ones that didn't have that went extinct, that branch of the family tree. So you're fighting nature when you try to lose weight. Your body doesn't want to lose weight. And stalls are the body's way of fighting back after you've lost a certain amount of weight until it gets used to that. You get it through your subconscious mind that it's better for you, and something called a set point will reset itself, and then you might start losing weight again. The preoccupation with weight loss is, I think, the number one problem of people trying to diet. If you had 100,000 people and you asked them, why the hell are you on a diet? They would say, I need to lose weight. Out of 100,000 people, maybe 5 of them might say, I want to get healthy. The rest of them are all worried about their weight and their appearance, so they can be prettier and more attractive to the opposite sex. And that is the way it's supposed to be. That's our prime number one motivating factor, besides surviving, is getting laid. The human animal wants to attract a mate. And everything else that we do, all the big cars that we buy and the fancy houses and everything we do, is to make us prettier so that we can live that dream life with that trophy partner on our arm and produce the highest quality offspring that could ever happen, the healthiest, prettiest. That's the meaning of life, and we've added all this bullshit to it, to the meaning of life. And you have to think about life in terms of how it evolved. And you have to look at behavior and mindset and your own motivations and your own addictions and identify to yourself why. And it all goes back to the same thing. The basic drive of any animal or any species of any living thing is to survive long enough to reproduce. Other than that, there's no meaning to anything. There's no conscious thought behind it. It's an automated system that just came into being accidentally. Now, this is where I run into trouble. I understand the dynamics of this. Absolutely. I can describe the cause of every kind of behavior and take it back in time, eons, to why it originated and the purpose of it. And the purpose of it was always procreation. And everything that caused successful procreation moves forward. And if it doesn't work anymore, it dies off. And what are we? We're the latest iteration of everything that came before us that was successful. And we're stuck with all of it from a cellular level on up. Because any of our ancestors that didn't have the traits that came forward to us because they wouldn't allow it to survive, they died off. And we, unfortunately, in a lot of respects, are the descendants of the people with the traits that ensured their survival. Logically, we could not be anything else. We couldn't be anything else. We cannot possibly be descendants of the organisms that failed. It's impossible. So in us, in our genetics and epigenetics, in our ancestry, in our background, we, at this iteration of our species, are not fully evolved. We're just on a continuing path of testing what works and what doesn't work. And we've screwed it up by becoming smart enough to manipulate it. I've talked about this many times, but that aside, eventually nature will win out and the fittest will survive. And the fittest are not the prettiest. Now, if you tend to gain weight really easily, and it's very hard for you to lose weight, you most likely can trace your ancestral past back through times of extreme famine. Because the only ones of your ancestors that survived those periods of extreme famine were the ones that had the best and most efficient fat storage mechanisms. And you could thank them for the fact that you can't lose weight in this instant in time of abundant food supply and manipulated food and garbage food and food that's engineered for us to be addicted. That's reality. I'm so tired of feeling like the only realist in a world full of people that have absolutely no idea of the reality of how it works because they bought into some propaganda somewhere along the way. That's why I have a hard time on YouTube sometimes. For me, it's crystal clear. It could not have happened any other way and yet be like it is today. And I've yet to hear an explanation that doesn't involve mysticism, superstition, and fantasy. I've yet to hear, other than what I get from people who are like-minded, which are more and more people these days, that believe in evolution, believe in nature, believe in chemistry, believe in science, believe in archaeology, believe in anthropology. And with the information that we have today, have concluded as well, it could not have happened any other way. And it explains everything that we talk about. I get off on those tangents. Sorry about that. I wanted to talk about my ribs, my beef ribs. God, I always get so philosophical. And I've told you last week that I was seriously thinking about changing my channel name, and I've been trying to think of different names for it because I think this carnivore thing we're destroying it. We are absolutely destroying it. We're making it so complicated and going into areas that most people don't have a deep enough background to understand. And whoever's got the best sales pitch wins. That's life. That's what life is. You know who's got the best sales pitch out there? Do you know whose name you see up on more billboards, sponsoring more sports events, owning the friggin' world? And if it isn't them, it's something that they own. Just because you're the biggest and most famous and most popular doesn't mean that you're in any way right. Because the biggest is Coca-Cola, most influential. I was watching a historical video. It showed Times Square back in the 40s during World War II. And what the hell was up on half of the billboards? Coca-Cola. Now, we all know that Coca-Cola is not doing anything for the American public that isn't destructive as hell to our health. And they're still doing it. Still doing it. All right, my ribs. It all started. Let me get this picture. I got these pictures here. Hang on a second. Just give me 1 second here. Got to fix something. Okay. I got some pictures here. Let me blow this up a little bit. So we got these rib roasts. We bought the whole thing, the whole primal, 25-pound cut, and the butcher cut off the. This was about 22 pounds of 2-inch thick ribeyes here, and this was the rack of ribs that ran along the back of the whole thing, and the butcher cut them off. So I decided I had to freeze them or cook them. So yesterday I decided to cook them, and I put them in the oven. I just took a sheet pan, put a rack on top, put the ribs on top of it, skin side down, salted with smoked salt, pretty good, and a little bit of pepper on the rib side. Did not remove the membrane. I don't ever remove the membrane from ribs. I think that's a mistake. Maybe if you're trying to become the barbecue master and compete, that's required. But there's so much nutrition, and I love the fact that it has that little snap to it when you eat the membrane, and it's got a good flavor. It's kind of like a natural casing on a sausage, which is an organic membrane. It happens to be an intestine, but whatever it is, that little pop you get when you break it, I like that. So I put them in the oven, 300 degrees for 4 hours. I turned them halfway through. That was it. Put them in the oven. I didn't wrap them in anything. I didn't baste them with anything. Nothing but salt and a small amount of pepper, and trying to keep it simple. And look at what happened. I gotta tell you, they came out fantastic. Fantastic. Look at the caramelization on the outside. You have any idea how good that tastes? Come right off the bone. Look, look at that. Oh my God, it's so good. And that was the ribs. There were 7 ribs in it, you can see. And I cut it into, that was 3.5 pounds, almost 4 pounds of ribs. So each one of these is over a pound. And I cut that little one off the end. And look at all the meat on it. It was incredible. So if you're going to buy these rib roasts on sale, have the butcher carve the ribs off the back. Have them carve the ribs off the back. Have them not cut them into steaks with the ribs on them, because the ribs this way, 300 degrees, bake on a rack so that he can get under them. Start skin side, rib side up, skin meat side down for 2 hours. Salt and pepper. Turn them over another 2 hours, and they come out looking like this. And I was shocked. I thought that look at that. I thought that oh God, my mouth's watering just looking at that. So that was a success. I was happy about that. And that's what I did with it. And I've got all those steaks now, and it's Monday, and Publix is open again, and that sale goes to Wednesday. And my son is going to go round 2 today and see if he can't pick up another 2 of these. I'll take one. He'll take one. It'll be another 25 pounds. Definitely get another rack of those ribs. I know that we all go to the Brazilian steakhouse for our meetups. One of the biggest treats that we get there, believe it or not, is they do the same thing, I guess, with the beef ribs that they get. And because I'm sure they buy the whole half a cow or whatever and got the ribs, and they bring them out, and you have to ask for them. They don't normally serve them, but if you ask them to bring you the beef ribs, they bring out ribs that look something like that, and they're fabulous. So I decided to try to do that myself. Terry says beef ribs are still reasonably priced. Yeah, ribs in general are generally fairly cheap. Even baby back ribs, or pork ribs of any kind. But I like ribs. But you can't. It takes a while to cook them properly. You got to slow cook them. And 300 degrees. I took a stab at that. I thought 275 might not be quite hot enough. I don't want to cook them too fast. So I kind of took a guess. Perfect. It worked. It worked perfectly. Wow. Look at all the conversation. Let me see if I can detect any more questions in the chat. What do you think about red light therapy? Been there, done that. What would be the purpose of eating or drinking fermented foods, Mitch, says Robbie Audrey. The only thing that they were talking about that you might gain from that, and this is one of O'Mara's biggest points, was that we're only eating dead food these days, whereas our ancestors ate live food. The food had active bacteria still alive in it. And they're claiming that the meat and the produce and all the food that we buy at the store has none of that. Except you can buy Dannon yogurt, and it's advertised all over the thing that has active cultures. You can take probiotic pills. You can eat any fermented food. And what fermenting is a food where the bacteria are doing their thing. And generally, they've eaten the sugar and they excreted something else. And it's what they excrete that the proponents of fermented foods say is essential for us for good health. Now, if we don't introduce, very few of us have no bacteria in our gut. Carnivore itself kind of balances, because the bacteria that are going to be in your gut, your microbiome, are going to be the only ones that survive are the ones that have what they eat as food. And obviously there must be something that feeds these good strains. And again, who decides what's good bacteria, what's bad bacteria when it comes to microbiomes? And how do you even know? Well, I know that when I stick to strict carnivore, I know that when I don't try to introduce any carbs, when I don't eat any fiber, when I eat nothing but bacon and eggs, which I think is a fabulous meal to ensure you get enough fat. You cannot eat bacon and eggs and not get enough fat. The eggs are a perfect amount of fat in them to start with, and bacon sure has a lot of fat. And if you cook your eggs in the bacon grease afterwards and soak it up, you're getting plenty of fat. So eat a lot of bacon and eggs and you'll get the right amount of fat. But I know that when I eat that, and I did it for years, any digestive and gut problems that I had cured up and performed perfectly. And it's only when I started trying to add a few carbs in, or eat blueberries or something like that, or more dairy, when I mean that my whole bowel got screwed up. I got constipated again, uncomfortable again. And when I go back to carnivore, strict, and eat no carbs, everything starts working fine again. So for me, when it's working fine like that, I need to stop watching all these stupid videos that try to scare me into buying something that will only make it worse for me, and go back to the basics and keep it simple. And I don't like yogurt, never did, so why should I? You like yogurt, you eat yogurt. I'm not saying it's going to hurt you, it might help you. But for me, we're all a little different, and I don't like dairy to begin with. I never did. I don't eat a lot of butter. I have to find my fats from the animals themselves. So I try to eat a lot of fatty meat. At any rate, that's that question. That's the purpose. Some people claim that they have living bacteria in fermented foods that we need, that we're not getting. That's a claim. May be true. May not. Is it keto chow? Amy, what if I was able to lose weight really easily and fall off of a sudden as I approach age 50? I'm no longer able to lose weight anymore, no matter what I try. Could there be other factors such as menopause? It could be. Well, Amy, I know you're struggling with that. It may just be that you are, whether you want to believe it or not, you have to say to yourself, how do I feel? Am I healthy? Do I have a diabetes or any other evidence of metabolic problems? There are many people in this world, because of their genetics, their ancestry, and what I talked about a little earlier about being descendants of people who survived famines, and the mechanisms in them that regulate fat storage are so fine-tuned that if they weren't that way, their ancestors never would have survived. Hence, you would never have been here. People like that cannot be like the skinny, athletic, pretty people whose ancestors came from parts of the world where there weren't many, many, many months of cold weather, famines, and other things, maybe from a more tropical area or temperate area. And their physiology did not have to be so efficient as storing fat. Different machinery. It's very possible, and you have to consider this, that for your heritage and your genetics, if you are in all other ways perfectly healthy and you feel great and everything is where it is, that's where your weight maybe is optimal for you. We don't want to admit that because we want to be thinner and prettier and more attractive and have better bodies. But it's very possible that when you try to lose more weight than you've already lost, you may be hurting your health instead of helping it. That's why I haven't been on the scale for months and don't want to. That is the least important indicator of what I shoot for in my health is weight. You do the things that make you feel the best and perform the best and let your weight take care of itself. Nobody can know this. It would take research that nobody could afford to come up with a conclusive answer. It doesn't mean you shouldn't stop looking, especially if you don't feel as good as you could. Finding somebody in the medical community to spearhead an investigation like that you can't find them these days. Nobody practices medicine like that anymore. Nobody can go into the depth. Nobody can afford to. No insurance company's going to pay for it. Medicine is down to step 1, step 2, step 3, get your drugs, go home. You can't rely on modern medicine to help you with a metabolic problem. They'll throw GLP-1 at you. That's their answer. That's their answer. How do you feel? Stop worrying about the weight. And I may be wrong. I may be wrong about that because I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know all the ins and outs. You don't even know you. That's the problem. How can somebody else know you and how exactly how you feel and all your experiences and your history, your ancestry, your evolutionary path? Good question, though. Good question. The question of the hour. We all ask that. I'm back to the red light therapy. Okay, got through the questions, and it is 8 o'clock. I showed you the pictures of my ribs. I didn't get a chance to read much of the chat, but there's been quite a bit of it. Look at this. Yes. Let's see what's going on here lately. Talk about eating raw meat. I don't believe in that. I think eating meat rare is probably, or even black and blue is probably okay, but raw. We've been cooking for 1 million years as a species. There's a reason. There's a reason why we prepare plants. We've gotten away from that when the raw vegan movement came in. They undid centuries and centuries of trial and error in ways to prepare plants to limit the toxins. And then some rocket scientist decides better to eat them raw and wiped out centuries of discovery. Eat it the way you like it. If you like your meat cooked, eat it cooked. For me, can't have my mouth start watering with the thought of eating raw meat. But you give me a nicely caramelized steak or something that looked like those ribs that I showed you, and my mouth starts to water. That's your body's signal telling you you want that. You want that. If your mouth is not, if you don't feel attracted to the look and smell of your food, you shouldn't be eating that food. Kids know this when they come right out of the chute. They don't want vegetables. They throw them on the floor. We force it on them because we think we know better than nature. Babies have been born for hundreds of millions of years, instinctually knowing what to eat. And we come along and think we're smarter. Wow. Question says, DS1, what is black and blue? Well, black and blue means raw on the inside and seared on the outside. The black evidently comes from the color of the seared outside, and blue, for some reason, is what they call raw meat. So that's what black and blue means. Black and blue means not cooked inside, still almost cold inside, or room temperature inside, but at least seared on the outside. A lot of people like it. I like it a little more cooked than that. So I cooked my steaks to 125-degree internal temperature. And that gives me the best consistency, the tenderest, and the best flavor and juiciness in a steak. But the inside is still at least warmed to 120-something degrees. If it was black and blue, the inside might be 80 degrees. And that's too close to raw. There's also a safety factor in eating raw organic food, raw meat. And one of the reasons that cooking was beneficial is it killed so much of the what might have been deadly bacteria that could be all over that meat. You don't know, E. coli, everything else. If you're just eating meat raw, you better know where that meat came from. And the only way to be sure of that would be to have the actual cow that you yourself butchered, and then before it even cooled off and got to room temperature, you were eating the meat. You might be assured that you're not getting deadly bacteria on it. So I just think it's not that smart to sit there carving pieces of meat off of a dead animal without cooking it. But that's just me. We have developed methods to prepare raw foods. Fermentation, ceviche, you marinating in certain, vinegars and things like that, pickling. I think that serves the purpose of it, more than likely, killing anything that might hurt us. And we have our sense of smell and taste. So if something smells rancid, don't eat it. If something tastes horrible, makes you want to gag, don't eat it. Your body is screaming at you, get this out of me. And if you do eat it, your body still screams the whole way through, and you end up with a really violent bathroom adventure. Yes, 111. Mitch, food, fire, salt, eat. Yes, it's that simple. That's simple. All right, my friends. It was an interesting little live stream. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating. Had a nice little turnout this morning for a Monday morning. I will see all of you in the members community tomorrow night at 7, and then back here on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. for Morning Coffee with Mitch. In the meantime, a little happy music. Say goodbye to your friends. For now, I want you to have a great day. And if you can afford it and you got room to store it, motivate yourself to get out there and get some of this meat. Get some of this stuff. I know I've heard from a lot of you in comments on that video I made. All these different stores, some of them have sales that are much cheaper than Publix, but the quality of the meat that I got was so good. I can't find any fault with it. It was marbled nicely. It was choice, but it could pass for prime. Fresh. It was great. We got to get us some more. So with that, Lady June still here, says goodbye. Lori says have a great day. CB, hi CB, missed you earlier. Good to see you. Or grab a free duck or iguana, says Rick. Yeah, well, I'm not in shape right now to be chasing ducks or iguanas, and don't really see a whole slew of them running up and down my street. So I'm going to have to go buy the steaks, Rick. Lori's, thank you, Mitch. You're welcome. Robbie Archie, great show, Mitch. Go outside and smoke a cigar. Always a plan. Always a plan. Bye for now. Bye, BB&E. And Lewis says bye. And my phone is dinging away. Let me see if there's anything I need to comment on here. No. Okay, my friends. See you tomorrow. In the meantime, take the rest of the day off and just eat meat.